Alrighty, so before I get into this review, I just wanted to quickly mention that I am actually recording this on the phone instead of on my laptop like I usually do, mainly because I forgot my webcam. And unfortunately, my laptop does not have a camera, and that, yeah, for the rest of this vacation, I'm going to have to pretty much record it on the phone, which is kind of a little annoying, especially for review, because normally I would use my phone to basically look at all the notes and basically talk about what happened in these games. But now I basically not only have to write down the notes on the phone, but I also have to do it on the paper as well. So it's kind of a little bit of a double duty. It's a little bit annoying, but obviously nothing we can do. And second of all, hope you guys enjoyed this t-shirt that I have. I actually bought two different things at the Inter Miami store. Originally, I was just gonna buy the third kit, that retro kit with Messi in the back for Inter Miami, but I saw this t-shirt and I don't really like it. And even though it cost about $50, which is kind of expensive for a t-shirt, I just wanted to buy it. I just wanted to wear it, even though, yeah, as we talk about, Inter Miami actually didn't get a win at home, which is kind of a rare thing this season. But let us begin with the first game, and that, of course, is FC Cincinnati versus LAFC. And, of course, I'll be looking down because that's where I put all the notes here. But, yeah, there were definitely some interesting results. I will also say that there wasn't as much goal scoring for a midweek as we've seen before. Usually midweek games, there's always tons of goal scoring, but not this week, though. It seems like this week, there were some games that there was some goal scoring, and we'll definitely get to the New York Derby, where it feels like it's not a red wedding anymore. It feels like we had a blue wedding that happened in that game. But in the first one between Cincinnati versus LAFC, and I gotta say, for LAFC, what a win this is. I mean, this is definitely something that they needed in terms of the league play. And you just wonder, is this kind of the beginning of what we saw last season as well, where, last season they kind of struggled in September. They had that September swoon, but as soon as the month hit near the end of September and head to October, they make a run, and next thing you know, they're back in the MLS Cup. And it's what's even more impressive is that, again, they're coming off of a 120-minute win in the U.S. Open Cup, and to go on the road on a short week after playing for that long in a brutal physical match against Sporting KC and get a win out of that. I mean, you got to tip your hats off to LAFC. And to be fair, they actually got off to a good start in this game. Salentano would deny Oliveira, as that was the game first shot, and then O'Brien puts it right to Salentano in the 14th minute before Martinez pulls it just wide in the 17th minute, as LAFC was on the front foot, as they were definitely pressing for the opening goal. And there's no doubt that Cincinnati clearly did not show up in this one, and that was shocking too, because I thought, knowing that LAFC might be a little bit tired coming into this game, and Cincy has the extra break, you would expect Cincinnati should be on the front foot at home. And this is kind of frustrating if you're a Cincy fan, the fact that, yeah, in a game where it's between a team that had a short week against a team that had a full week of rest, and the fact that they kind of come out flat at home, that's a little concerning for Pat Nolan. Salentano then denied Martinez from close before Bogusz puts it just wide in the 23rd minute. 30 minutes in, Cincinnati still have yet to register a shot. Yeah, they were looking very flat, did not start on time whatsoever, and they paid the price in the 34th minute, as LAFC, after on the back of sustained pressure, they score. It's David Martinez. He scored from O'Brien and Kamara to make it 1-0 in favor of LAFC. So David Martinez, after getting a goal, his first career goal not long ago, scoring his second career MLS goal here. But yeah, that's been coming. I mean, LAFC was pushing to try to get the opening goal. They finally got it. G. Keeney did try to respond, and he missed an absolute sitter on the doorstep of goal. And if you can't believe, that was actually the first shot for Cincinnati. I mean, that's one of the longest time that Cincinnati has gone without a shot to start the game, especially at home as well. The second minute stoppage time, Chanel would head it wide from close range, but we do head to halftime with LAFC leading 1-0. In the second half, Lloris would deny Powell from close range before Powell would head it wide on the header. Whatever Pat Nolan said at halftime clearly worked, because Cincinnati, they look like a complete different team heading into the second half. Much more energy in the second half. Yedlin would hit it right to Lloris, but then in the 61st minute, on the back of Cincinnati's sustained pressure, they would score. It's Lucas Oriano. He cannot stop scoring goals right now. And you know who also cannot stop assisting goals? Lucho Acosta. So he got the assist here to tie the game up at 1 apiece. Kubo then looked to take the lead, but he hits it right to Lloris. But there was no doubt the momentum was with Cincinnati as they were pressing to try to get the lead. However, in the 73rd minute, really kind of against the run of play, Denis Bouanga, he scored from Giroud and Lloris to give LAFC a 2-1 lead, and it was really kind of a Denis Bouanga kind of goal. You know that he's a very dangerous whenever he basically dribbled the ball on the flank area, and he did exactly that. Although, for Salentano, he will be disappointed about that. I mean, anytime when you get beat in the near post, especially when it's a low-driven ball in the near post, that is when goalkeepers should do better. And, Salentano, I mentioned before, he has had some good games for Cincinnati. And then there's also times where you see these kind of moments where, you probably feel like you should have done better if you're going to consider yourself a top elite goalkeeper. And I think Salentano is right up there, but that is one that he's definitely going to want back. But LAFC wouldn't care. They were up 2-1 up to this point. And so I turned the page here. I basically wrote all these notes in different pages, so I'm going to have to turn the page as we go. But Buka did look to respond, but he hits it straight to Lloris. Cincinnati was pressing back to try to get the equalizer. Kelsey tried to do so, but he puts it wide from close range. And yeah, in the end, LAFC, big road win. They're now back in second place. Obviously, I don't think they're going to catch LAFC in terms of that spot, but there's no doubt that, as you can probably see, as the month is started to turn to October, it seems like LAFC might be back, and this is bad news for the rest of the Western Conference. Want to stop them from winning the Western Conference title for the third consecutive year, but we shall see how that, of course, is going to go. Shots in this one, I actually wrote the stats here, so I'm going to read it. 22 shots per the 18 that LAFC had, 6 shots on goal for both of these teams, 6 shots off target per the 5 that LAFC had, 8 shots that was blocked per the 5 that LAFC had, and possession-wise, 60% possession compared to 40% possession that LAFC has in this game. And while it was a big win for LAFC, this was a tough loss for Cincinnati, and this has got to be concerning if you're Cincinnati, considering the fact that this was really a good test to see how they would do when they face against tougher opponent, and yeah, they failed that test, and now they don't have second place anymore. Second place is now in favor of the Columbus Crew, and that is also bad news for Cincinnati, because in case if there is going to be a rematch of the Hell is Real Derby, if we're going to see it in the conference final or maybe even earlier, depending on how things go. Yeah, Cincinnati's not going to get that home field advantage against Columbus. I know Cincinnati has beaten Columbus at Lord.com field, but yeah, I just don't think that's an ideal situation for Pat Nolan's side to go into Columbus and try to get some revenge against Cincinnati, and especially Cincinnati hasn't really been playing relatively well lately, and that's definitely bad news if you're Pat Nolan for a team that is considered to be a team that is looking to go on a redemption tour and trying to get themselves into MLS Cup this year. Now, moving on, in the next match is DC versus the Columbus Crew. Of course, you're going to see me write down the timestamp as well. That's kind of the thing about this camera being closed. But yeah, in the next game between DC and Columbus, so Columbus, obviously they had a chance to not only get second position, but maybe get themselves a little bit breathing room with Cincinnati for that second position. Didn't happen, though Columbus does have a game in hand over Cincinnati, so depending on what happened in that game in hand, actually, it doesn't really depend on what happened with that game in hand. It doesn't matter if Columbus lose or draw, they'll still get that second position. But yeah, this is one of those rare game where, Columbus gave up a late goal to drop 3 points in this one. Now, early on, not much happened early in this game, as there was no shot through the first 15 minutes. In fact, the first shot actually came in the 15th minute. It saw Benteke heads it over before the first shot for the Crew. See Russell Rowe puts it high from close range. Bono then absolutely robbed Rossi in the front post. I mean, what a save that was from Alex Bono. Rossi couldn't believe it. Before Kutibietro would puts it right to Schulte in the 25th minute. Both teams kind of starting to get some good chances, but the question is, who can get that opening goal? And the answer is DC, and guess who? It's Christian Benteke. Something tells me that he's probably going to win the Golden Boot this year, which, I know Christian Benteke is a good goal scorer, but I would have never guessed it in the year of 2024 that he would be leading the Golden Boot and be scoring 20 plus goal. I mean, I've said it before that he's always one of the most dangerous goal scorers, and if he can just be consistent in terms of his finishing, he probably would be one of the best goal scorer in the world by now. Probably right up there in terms of Luis Suarez status in that, but obviously his career, the reason why he hasn't really been considered as the one of the best goal scorers is the fact that he's been very inconsistent with that. Not this year, though. He's been absolutely lethal. He scored here from Kutibietro, like I said, from Herrera, to make it 1-0 in favor of DC. Came off a lightning counterattack and as well. Click then goes for a second goal, but he flashed it wide from long range before Baji puts it wide from close in the 37th minute, as DC definitely had the momentum up to this point. They were pushing for the second goal as well. Cucho then flashed it wide from close range before Benteke hits it right to Schulte in the first man stoppage time. But we do head to halftime with DC leading 1-0, and they definitely play well in that first half. Keep in mind, Columbus didn't rest their roster coming into this one. They still put in their main team, and you kind of had a sense that, again, that physical game against Copa America, maybe they're not really up for it, especially coming off of a heartbreaking PK shootout loss in that Confidence Cup. But in the second half, it looked like Benteke made it 2-0, but the goal, of course, was disallowed for offside. They also came off a turnover from Columbus. This is going to be something that I think if you're a Crew fan, and especially if you're a Wilfred Nancy, this has got to be something they have to fix if they want to really get to that level of unstoppableness. Unstoppableness? Is that even a word? I guess it's a word right now. But yeah, I mean, this is not the first time we have seen this happen. This is probably, I think, the biggest kryptonite, I would say, about this Columbus Crew team. As good as they are, they do turn the ball over in bad spot this year, and we have seen it before. When they do that, they give up goals and being punished for that. They can't do that when they're in the playoffs, and they got very lucky that the flag bailed them out here. And that was huge too, because just 2 minutes later, they would tie the game up, and guess who he is? It's Cucho Hernandez. I'll tell you what, it's going to be a very interesting MVP race between him and even Evander, because both of these guys, you can make a case that they could be MVP contender. But here, Cucho Hernandez, I mean, he just made this look so easily. Like the fact that he was able to dink this one completely with no momentum whatsoever over the head of Bono. I mean, that's just absolutely filthy. It's just an MVP level of a goal. He scored here from Herrera and Farsi to make it 1-0 in favor of Columbus. Then a couple of minutes later, they would be leading this game. Or actually, did I say 1-0? It was 1-1 up to this point. In the 57th minute, Russell Rowe would score from Cucho to make it 2-1 in this game. By the way, it's a little bit late right now in Miami. I've been out in the humid and the heat, so don't be surprised if I'm feeling a little bit tired as a result. But yeah, that made it 2-1 in this game for Columbus after Russell Rowe scored here. Just a beautiful delivery there from none other than Cucho Hernandez, and even a better diving header too. I mean, that was not easy for Russell Rowe to create the diving header and generate power to get past Bono there, but he did exactly that. Just a beautiful Columbus goal. Very, very Wilfred Nancy kind of Columbus Crew kind of go with that beautiful build up. But yeah, that made it 2-1 in this game. You just kind of had said, well, it looks like Columbus is going to run away with this, right? Well, DC said not so fast. Herrera did look to answer, but he hits it right to Schulte before Priani puts it over the bar in the 64th minute. Bono then denied Cucho of his second goal of the game from close, and then Benteke puts it wide from close in the 71st minute. DC was definitely trying to press to tie it up. Again, this is the thing that I think if you're a DC fans, that this may be some encouragement as they make this playoff push, that they're hanging in there. I mean, against probably one of the best team in the league and defending champion, it's easy for them to just kind of fold, like what we see with many teams when they face Columbus. But DC kind of hang in there, and they were pressing to trying to get that equalizer. And they were rewarded by that in the 81st minute. Guess who? It's Christian Benteke. He scored again here from Pirani and Miro to make it 2-2 in this one. I mean, Benteke is single-handedly carrying this DC team this season. I think if it wasn't for him, I don't know where DC would be this year right now. They definitely wouldn't be in the thick of this playoff race. Cucho then hits one right to Bono before Herrera had a shot that was deflected. But it was actually a good block here from Lucas Bartlett. If Bartlett didn't make that block there, Herrera probably would have get the lead for Columbus. Pirani then had a shot that was denied by Schulte, but Mero had a chance on the rebound there, but unfortunately he hits this one right to Schulte. I don't think Mero had know a lot about that moment, but yeah, in the end it was a 2-2 draw out of this game. The shots in this one, both teams had 15 shots. 7 shots on goal for the 6 that Columbus had, 4 shots off target for the 3 that Columbus had, 6 shots that was blocked for the 2 that DC had, and possession-wise, 57% possession compared to the 43% possession that DC has in this game. So, this is a game that normally you would say that the team on the road should be the more happier side. But I think in this game, probably the home team is going to be the more happier side. Yes, I know DC did drop some points, and they did kind of got themselves a little bit behind in terms of some of the team around them. Though I think most of the team in the Eastern Conference playoff race didn't even get a win this week. That race is still relatively tight, but yeah, again, to get points against Columbus, one of the best team in the league and the defending champion. It doesn't matter if you're playing at home or on the road. You would absolutely take it, especially when you come from behind to do so. So yeah, certainly a great victory. And again, for Columbus, normally when you see a team get a point like this, there's no shame in terms of that, even if they gave up a late goal. But this is Columbus we're talking about. I'm pretty sure Wilfried Nancy's not going to be happy about this, even if it's a short week, and maybe that's why they kind of ran out of gas a little bit late in this game. But the good news, at least, is that they did pass Cincinnati in that spot, and now they know that if they do face against Cincinnati in the Hell is Real Derby in the playoffs, it's going to be at Lower.com Field instead of being at TQL. Now, moving on into the game that I attended, which is Inter Miami versus Charlotte. This is probably the one I'll talk about the longest in terms of the length, because there are a couple of things I want to mention before I talk about this game itself. Obviously, one of the things I bought this cool looking t-shirt from the team store, which, yeah, the team store was pretty packed, and that was expected. I mean, I knew there was going to be a lot of people in the team store buying a lot of Inter Miami merchandise, but there was also a couple of things that I noticed. One thing that I noticed is the fact that I was surprised this game was not delayed because of lightning. When I was sitting there, literally about 25 minutes, well, actually not 25 minutes, I'm sorry, but about 5 minutes before the game when the players come out, I saw some lightning in the horizon, and I thought this game was going to be delayed because, MLS have a certain rule is where if there's lightning around the vicinity, they're definitely going to delay the game. They didn't delay the game, though, and it never rained as well, and I think at least for the first couple of minutes, that's when I saw lightning. The rest of the night, I didn't see lightning whatsoever, so they kind of continue the game. And in some way, I'm glad that is the case because, if the game go under a lightning delay, who knows when the game will restart. It's going to be a long night at Chase Stadium as well. The second thing I also noticed is that, man, the security at Chase Stadium, especially keeping a spectator off the pitch, that is a big problem because I think there was 4 or 5 incidents that I saw during the game where there was somebody that was invading the pitch. I saw a couple of kids basically invade the pitch trying to get an autograph to Messi. Great. I will say that I will give credit to those security guards, not at least go too tough on the kids. Usually you see when there's a pitch invader, the security just tackle someone and stuff like that. They didn't do it with the kids though, so that's obviously good to see as well. But honestly, that shouldn't happen. I mean, if it happened once, it's unfortunate. But it happened at least 4 or 5 times. It actually happened right as the stoppage time was announced. There was going to be 8 minutes in this, and because of that, we didn't even play stoppage time for the first 2.5 minutes. And as a result, it was so long of a stoppage time. I thought I was going to get out of the stadium early, but because we have so long of a stoppage time, I mean, yeah, we didn't get out of the stadium until 9:45. And also, my dumbass decided to drive to the stadium there. That was a bad idea because the traffic was pretty bad in terms of getting out the stadium. I was kind of stuck at the stadium for at least 10, well, not even 10 minutes, but at least 25 or 30 minutes just to get out of the traffic jam. So yeah, so note to anybody that want to go to Chase Stadium, do not drive there. It's very hard to trying to get out, especially on a packed night like that. But anyway, going to the game itself. So like I said, it's not very often you see Inter Miami drop points. Though I will say this for Charlotte, it seems like they're back. It seems like this Charlotte team is back to where we were at least in the middle of the season when we thought that they were a dark horse in terms of the Eastern Conference playoff run, and that I think that 4-0 win really kind of helped them as well. But this is a game where Inter Miami should have won this one. They had so many chances this one, and it was kind of really an off night for that Inter Miami attack throughout this game as well, especially in terms of finishing as well. In the the first half, there was actually an early shout for a penalty not given to Miami, and then Messi was in on goal in the 8th minute. I was expecting that ball was in the back of the net, but he hits this one right to Kalina. Now, I know there's that old saying, well, maybe a player is just kind of getting himself warm up. It's his first chance. You can make an excuse for that. This is Lionel Messi we're talking about. Usually he buries that 10 out of 10 times, so it was kind of surprising the fact that he didn't bury that 1v1 as well. So, yeah, I mean, the crowd was ready to celebrate, too. I'm pretty sure they're even shocked the fact that he didn't put the ball into the back of the net. The good news is, a little spoiler alert, he would put the ball into the back of the net later on. Unsurprisingly, Miami had most of the possession. Charlotte was sitting deep and looking for the counter. That was kind of what I expected. You know, when you face against Inter Miami, you're not going to win the possession battle. Schwiderski then puts it over, from the roof of the net. The shots were one apiece 15 minutes in. Bronico then puts it into the side netting. I thought Charlotte was actually playing relatively well. Like, they give up that one moment there from Messi, and probably very lucky that they didn't concede in terms of that, but they were actually looking pretty good. But how many times I said, when you're playing against Miami, you could be looking good, but you got to put away your chances, and that, at least early on, Charlotte wasn't doing that. Abada then hits one right to counter before Suarez hits it right to Kalina in the 29th minute. Suarez then missed wide as the flag went up. Miami was starting getting some chances, and this is when you think that, well, it looks like they're going to be rolling up to this point. Messi then puts it wide into the side netting before Junior Urso puts it over from long range, and we do head to halftime with the score scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, Messi would hit it right to Kalina in the 51st minute, but then in the 57th minute, Karol Schwiderski, he scored from Bronico and Byrne to make it 1-0 in favor of Charlotte. I believe that's the first goal that Schwiderski has scored for Charlotte ever since coming back from Charlotte from open play, because I think so far all his goals that he scored so far this season has come from the penalty spot. Messi did look to respond, but he was denied by Kalina. Rojas then puts it over from long range in the 65th minute. I thought Charlotte was starting to ready to shut up shop and just kind of put it deep block, kind of almost going like Rohivmo up to this point. And when you do that, yeah, that's not really a good idea especially you're the road team and you're facing Inter Miami, because after Kalina denied Messi from long range, he did not deny Messi this time. You knew it was gonna happen. Like the thing about Charlotte is that, you know, if you leave space for Lionel Messi, even just a half inch of space, you are going to get punished. And they got punished for leaving another inch of space, as Messi would bend this one from Wenger and Busquets to tie the game up at one apiece. So, you know, at least I can say that, you know, there was two things that crossed off my bucket list. Seeing Messi play in person. He was a very small too. I mean, I know he's only like 5'7", but he was very, very tiny. He was much tinier than what I thought he would look in real life. But yeah, not only see Messi play, but also see him score as well. And obviously the crowd gone crazy when that happened. And then we had a penalty that was given to Inter Miami, but then they go to VAR to see whether or not if Melenda indeed did not foul Suarez, and whether or not if he actually got the ball. And he did. And it was the right call. When you look on the replay, it definitely looked like Melenda got to the ball here. I think he got the ball at the same time that he kind of fouled Suarez. But as long as you don't make like an egregious kind of foul there when you get the ball, that's a clean challenge. So the good thing is that they reversed that call. Obviously, Inter Miami fans and the fans around me were not happy about that, and there was also no second yellow card for Melenda. Originally, that was a second yellow, and Melenda was sent off there. And then just 1 minute later, on the other end, Vargas would put the ball into the back net, but the flag came up for offside. I think this was on the development of play as well. So what a crazy sequence, where on one end, it looked like Charlotte was down to 10 men, and they got bailed out by VAR, and then on the other hand, they were denied by the flag. So I guess you can maybe say VAR taken, VAR given, or the other way around, VAR given, VAR taken in that moment, even though the Vargas goal that was chopped off, they didn't go to VAR there, and it was pretty obvious that on the development play, there was an offside there. And really, as the time winds down, Charlotte started to play for a point. Again, they were really sitting back, allowing a lot of pressure. I didn't think that was a good idea, especially when you you face the likes of this Inter Miami team knowing for late magic. Rojas would puts it wide from long range before Vargas curls it just wide from close range. Kamaski then pretty much blasts this one into Palm Beach before Vargas would hits the side netting on the corner. So I say, Miami were pushing. Charlotte, it had a couple of chances of them as well, but really it feels like this game is up for grabs up to this point. Who can get that late equalizer? Again, we're playing beyond the 8 minutes because for the first 3 minutes we didn't even play any stoppage time because of the pitch invade there, and also the substitution as well. There was another shout for a penalty not given to Miami. And then in the 12-minute stoppage time, oh my goodness, I cannot believe this did not win in. I mean, I talk about Messi missing a 1v1 opportunity, but Luis Suarez, he just looked off in this game, in my opinion, and he would absolutely want this one back. I mean, this was it was front post there. All he has to do was just kind of tuck this one in, and he blasted over. I mean, that was just kind of one of those ones where it's harder to miss from that range than actually scoring. When you have the caliber of Luis Suarez and with the way that he's been a goal-scoring machine, yeah, it was kind of stunning to see him miss that. And again, it just felt like it was a very off night for Inter Miami. And again, it can happen to every team. This is an example that even the best team in MLS and really even the best team in the world can have an off night like this where the finishing is not there. But Charlotte wouldn't care. They got a point out of this game. I mean, anytime when you get a point out of Inter Miami, especially on the road as well, you take it and you run it, as that's exactly what happened. The shots in this one, 21 shots compared to 9 that Charlotte has, 8 shots on goal compared to 2 that Charlotte has, 6 shots off target compared to 5 that Charlotte has, 7 shots that was blocked compared to 2 that Charlotte has, and possession-wise, 57% possession compared to the 43% possession that Charlotte has in this game. So the good news that I will say for Inter Miami, even though they dropped points in this one, they do still have a relatively good points total. They're very close in terms of clinching the Sports Show. I believe they can actually wrap that up next week when they play against Columbus. That should be a heck of a matchup at lower.com feel for that midweek game. Oh, also, did I say that coming into this match week, this midweek, we didn't have a lot of game? What am I thinking? It's not the middle of the week. It's the weekend matchup. Again, Florida sometimes has messed me up, especially the heat and humidity. I almost forgot that we're not in the middle of the week just yet. The midweek game is actually going to be happening in the last couple of weeks. No wonder why there isn't as crazy scoreline as we usually see in some of these midweek games. So, yeah, that should be a heck of a matchup as well. Unfortunately, I won't be going to that one. I'll be going to Orlando on Wednesday for that game against the Union. But yeah, again, for Miami, they'll just brush it off. They'll get ready for the next game and see if they can be a little bit better in terms of the finishing. And for Charlotte, like I said, they take that point any day, given day. And it just feels like the confidence is starting to be back for the Charlotte team. Now, moving on into the last game on this board. And that, of course, is Montreal against the San Jose Earthquakes. Well, it took a while for Montreal to get that breakthrough, but when they did get that breakthrough, I mean, that shouldn't surprise anyone. And in some way, Montreal is kind of the big winner in terms of that playoff race because pretty much everybody in the playoff race in the Eastern Conference did not get a win, and they were the only one to do so. Now, in the first half, the first shot of the game did see Daniel deny Martinez from close before Saliba puts one right to Daniel in the 9th minute. The first shot for the Quakes did see Rodriguez heads it wide before Pellegrino puts it wide from close range. I thought it was a lively start, at least to this game, with both of these teams getting some good early chances. Marshall Ruddy would then puts it wide from close before Edwards would hit one right to Daniel. He would do the same thing just 8 minutes later, and then Daniel would deny Martinez in the near post as Montreal, again, getting some good chances. The Quakes, they looked like they were hanging on for dear life as the defense just trying to make it to halftime without conceding the goal. Though they themselves almost got the opening goal in the first minute of stoppage time when Espinoza struck the post on the free kick. But we do head to halftime with the scoreless heading into the second half. It did not stay scoreless for long heading into the second half, as in the 50th minute, guess who? It's Joseph Martinez. Definitely Joseph Martinez was looking like the old Joseph in this game. I mean, that's kind of expected when you're facing against a Quakes defense that can't defend. He scored here from Duke to give Montreal a 1-0 lead, and also that came off of set pieces. So yeah, that's that. Pellegrino then looked to answer, but he heads it right to Siwaz, and then in the 55th minute, Martinez scored again. He scored from Clark and Campbell to make it 2-0 in favor of Montreal. Just a vintage Joseph Martinez go as well in the right place at the right time. And again, it seems like we're getting vintage Joseph tonight, and the Quakes clearly forgot about that in this game as well. Danielle then denied Clark after just a brutal giveaway from the Quakes there, so that could have been 3-0. The Quakes clearly was going through the motion. It looked like they were already checked out, thinking about Cancun. And in the 72nd minute, Clark would get on the score sheet. So he scored here from Duke and Burkage. And again, for those of you that are still asking, no, I do not miss him doing his time with Minnesota. And also, by the way, since Clayton Clark has scored, thank you, Minnesota. And again, I still don't regret it. And even though I know he of course made some interesting comments about his situation with Minnesota, definitely direct toward Eric Ramsey as well, for not playing relatively well. I just think he didn't fit the system that Eric Ramsey is set up, and that can happen too. And especially when he was with Minnesota, he was playing not in his natural position like he is with Montreal. It is no surprise he really struggled during his time. So yeah, again, for those that's still wondering, no, I do not miss him. This is just a situation where a player goes somewhere else and they get a new system and they change the scenery and do well. And keep in mind, Minnesota isn't really that hurt by this. In fact, I would say that they're benefit themselves by getting some moves their own that of course has worked out relatively well, as I'll talk about in tomorrow's video. Oh, by the way, did I mention that this is going to be a 2-part video? Yeah, this is only going to be part 1, and I'm only looking at the first 8 games. And yeah, again, I don't regret it, and I it's great to see that Caden Clark has performed very well right now, kind of similar to what Mason Toy did when he went to Montreal. And I think Montreal would absolutely take that in terms of their run to try to make the playoffs. Pierce then trying to make it 4, but he hits it right to Danielle before Thompson puts it wide from close range. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Or actually, no, there was one more chance in the 89th minute. Espinoza would hit it right to Siwas as the Quakes finally woke up, but a little too late. I mean, when you're 3-0 down, it feels like it's a combination of them waking up and Montreal kind of just putting the game on neutral. And yeah, in the end, an easy 3-0 win, a big win too. I mean, like I said, they're one of the only team in that playoff race that was able to get the maximum points in a game. But the shots in this one, 16 shots for the 12 that the Quakes had, 10 shots on goal for the 2 that San Jose had, 5 shots off target for the 3 that Montreal has, 3 shots that was blocked for the 2 that the Quakes had, and possession-wise, 57% possession compared to 43% possession the Quakes has in this game. Again, things are going to get a little tougher for Montreal. Of course, you can't play against San Jose every single day. I mean, if that is the case, they would absolutely make it to the playoffs. And by the way, with this loss, the Quakes have now giving up 72 goals, which they're only 3 away from breaking the record for the most goal conceded. And there's no doubt, I think they're going to reach that mark. But most importantly, with this loss, they've now clinched the wooden spoon for the 5th time in their franchise history. That has now broke the record for the most wooden spoon win, broke the record that DC basically hold with 4 of them. I mean, that's not a big surprise. I mean, I don't even need to ramble of how pathetic this franchise is. I've already spent enough time doing it. So either way, I am now going to actually erase this board because I only have like 1 travel board, and I'm going to put up the next four games to finish up this review of this weekend's match week away from home. That is match week number 36, at least looking at the first 8 games. So I actually went a little out of order when I decided to put in the games here. I didn't realize that by the time I got to this 3rd game. So instead of me actually talking about New England and Nashville next, let's talk about the Hudson River Derby. And remember a couple of years ago, we had that infamous, well, actually, it's depending on how you feel if it's an infamous game or a famous game, depending on which side of the Hudson River Derby you stand. But yeah, there was that infamous Red Wedding game where the Red Bulls won 7-0 against NYCFC. So I guess you can maybe call this the Blue Wedding game. I mean, I don't know if that kind of makes more sense. There's no doubt that there's going to be a name that's going to be a name out of this game because my NYCFC, they absolutely thrashed the Red Bulls in this one, especially early on, because literally just 4 minutes into this game, the first shot of the game It's in the back of the net. And guess who? It's Messi Friends. He still got it. He scored here to give NYCFC a 1-0 lead. And then just 3 minutes later, Alonso Martinez, the king of scoring early goals, he scored here to make it 2-0 in favor of NYCFC. That's also the second shot of the game. So the first two shots of the game, it's in the back of the net, and it's for NYCFC. You couldn't ask for a better dream start or a worse nightmare start if you're a Red Bulls fan than that could be. So, yeah, that made it 2-0 up to this point. By the way, I think that's the first time in a while I see a team that is able to score on their first two shots. Usually, I always see teams score on their first shot sometimes, but to do that in the first two shots, especially in the first 10 minutes, that's very impressive. And then it could have been 3-0, and they probably could have scored on their third shot of the game when Martinez actually struck the post from close range. The Red Bulls need to wake up to this point, because they were getting absolutely rattled up to this point. And I even wrote, this could be a reverse red wedding. This could be like a blue wedding kind of type of game where NYCFC was going to go absolutely ham in this one. Morales then had a free kick that goes by everybody in the 15th minute, but then in the 28th minute, a lifeline looked like it was handed to the Red Bulls as Dante Van Zier, so a guy that finally broke that goal scoring drought in the last game. Well, it's safe to say that it seems like that pressure, and this is not a big surprise when you see number 9s that haven't scored a long time. They finally score a goal, and it feels like that pressure is off, and they started to go on a run. It feels like maybe Dante Van Zier is on that pace, and that's got to be good news if you're a Red Bulls fan, because how snake-bitten he was throughout the season. And what's also kind of surprising is that that's actually the first shot for the Red Bulls up to that point. So both teams actually score on their first shot, though it's kind of weird the fact that both teams score on their first shot, and the first shot for the other team didn't came until the 28th minute. And again, it could be a lifeline up to this point. Well, that was all for 2 minutes, because in the 30th minute, Andres Pereira would restore the 2-goal lead here from Graham Parks to make it 3-1 in favor of NYCFC. And I pretty much wrote, so much for the lifeline. And again, this is a classic example of what happened when you score. You're always going to be vulnerable when you just score. And yeah, the Red Bulls kind of commit that cardinal since there as a result. They were vulnerable, and next thing you know, it was back to a 2-goal lead. Nealis did look to answer, but he missed high before Harper hits it right to freeze in the second minute of stoppage time. But then in the third minute of stoppage time, Alonso Martinez scored again. It was 4-1 up to this point. Like, it was hard to... I was checking the score while I was watching the Inter Miami and Charlotte game in the stadium. I could not believe my eyes when I saw the score line was 4-1 in favor of NYCFC up to this point. I mean, they were going ham, the team in blue. I'm pretty sure the traveling supporter. I mean, can you say they're a traveling supporter? I mean, it's a quick trip across the other side of the Hudson River. I guess it makes sense, because they are traveling, of course, to another states as well. But yeah, they must be really enjoying this one. That made it 4-1 up to this point. Oh, by the way, Martinez, of course, scoring from O'Toole and Parks to make it 4-1 up to this point, and it was not great defending from the Red Bulls. It was not. Throughout that first half, it was a disaster performance when it comes to defending in the first half. Probably the worst I've seen the Red Bulls have done, because this is a Red Bulls team that have always done well when it comes to defending. But man, that first half defending was not a thing for the Red Bulls up to that point. Van Zier then puts it right to freeze in the 5th minute stoppage time, but we do head to halftime with NYCFC leading 4-1 in this one. I mean, that's quite an insane score line, and again, just kind of makes me wonder, are we going to have a reverse red wedding game? Freeze then denied Harper from close in the 49th minute before Nealis heads it wide from close range. I thought the Red Bulls kind of got off to a good start in the second half, but how much is that due to the fact that maybe NYCFC was kind of taking the foot off the gas a little bit, making sure that it's not going to be exactly a reverse red wedding game? Though, that being said, in the 64th minute, Alonso Martinez was in on goal and had a chance for his hat trick, and he missed the target. And yeah, there's no doubt that, I mean, I know Alonso Martinez will be happy that he scored 2 goals, but man, he would be wishing that he scored that hat trick. I mean, that was a hat trick for him. And with how lethal NYCFC was finishing, you would expect that would have been 5-1 up to this point. Eventually, it was 5-1, though, because in the 68th minute, Tavon Gray would score from Morales to make it 5-1 in favor of NYCFC. Yeah, that was just poor closing down from the Red Bulls. Again, that Red Bulls defense, non-existent in this game. Manuel then puts it over from close before Cornell denied Ojeda, but then spills it and was able to fortunately just about clear his teammate or fortunate his teammate just cleared away. That went in to make it 6-1. I mean, that just kind of sums up the Red Bulls, the fans, and also the goalkeeping as well. I mean, I will say that for most of the goal that Cornell scored, I don't think most of them he could have able to get to it, but that one, if he did concede it, yeah, that would absolutely be on him, and just sums up an absolute disastrous night for the New York Red Bulls in this Hudson River derby. Baccarat then puts it high from close, but yeah, in the end, the Red Bulls absolutely throttle, or actually no, NYCFC absolutely throttle. I almost said the Red Bulls absolutely throttle NYCFC there. That was just back in the red wedding. This was the opposite of that. I mean, and this could be a changing point, at least for one of these New York team. I mean, for NYCFC, we mentioned how they haven't been playing very well. Now that you not only got this big Hudson River derby and New York once again is blue, but to do it the manner like this, yeah, that's definitely gonna fire up the team and get themselves on the right track. But if you're the Red Bulls, oh my goodness, this look like this team has first round exit written all over it right now, and that's got to be disappointing because, like I said, this was such a promising season for the Red Bulls, and really in this game you can't even blame the finishing was a problem in this one. This was just a game where, again, it was by far the worst game that they played this season. The defense completely collapsed in this one, probably the worst that they perform in this game, and it's just and to make it get even worse, it just happened to be in the biggest game of the season. At least if you ask any Red Bulls or NYCFC game, what's the biggest game? It's obviously going to be the Hudson River derby. The shots in this one: 14 shots for the 11 that NYCFC had, 4 shots on goal for the 9 that NYCFC had, 2 shots that was blocked for the 5 that the Red Bulls had, 4 shots that was, or no, 2 shots that was off target for the 5 that the Red Bulls had, 4 shots that was blocked for the 2 that NYCFC had, and possession-wise, 53% possession compared to 47% possession that NYCFC has in this game. And like I said, just absolutely dominant that NYCFC will have. And again, it'll be interesting what kind of names that they'll create. I don't think Blue Wedding sounds as good as Red Wedding, but so one thing we know is that this was the reverse of a red wedding. This was just NYCFC decided to give the Red Bulls maybe a little taste of their own medicine in terms of the infamous red wedding game that we saw a couple of years ago in this famous but still early day New York derby. Now, moving on in terms of the next game, and now I'm going to flip back because, again, I did this out of order. But the next game is the New England Revolution and Nashville, and I gotta say this just kind of shows you the fact that every time when you think that a team is completely running off and look like they're going the wrong direction and they're done, then somehow they're able to pull out a win and look like they're kind of back in it. Now, obviously, New England still need to do a lot to try to get themselves back into play all position, and especially they don't really control their own destiny as well. And really, I think when you look at the playoff race in the East, I think the only team you can probably rule out right now is Chicago, because yeah, Chicago, as we'll talk about in part 2, they look like they're done in terms of making the playoffs, and that streak of them not making the playoffs for the 7th consecutive season looks like that's going to continue as the longest active playoff drought. But yeah, in this game, New England, they absolutely needed this win. I mean, they against Nashville, a playoff chasing rival, they have to win this game, and they did just about that in this one. This was looked like it had 0-0 written all over it for the whole way. Mule early on put one right to Ivicic before Lovitz puts it wide on the header, as Nashville had some good chances early. They were looking to try to get the opening goal. Arriaga would then puts it wide on the header before Langoni would puts it wide from close in the 16th minute, as New England kind of woke up after a little bit of a slow start in this game. They were looking for the opener in this game. By the way, Caleb Porter was not available in this game for some reason, and I guess it kind of helped the team. I mean, last time when Caleb Porter wasn't available, it didn't really make too much of a difference. I think New England actually ended up losing that game in the end as well. But in the 23rd minute, Heel would have a shot that was had a shot that was wide from long range before Ivicic denied Suric from close. We then go for a period where not much really happened, with a couple of yellow card, and we actually would end the half scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, Mule had a shot that was blocked from close range before Ivicic denied Mukhtar from close. And just like the first half, Nashville has the advantage and was looking for the opener, though Veroni heads it high from the corner, and then in the 85th minute, Leao had a volley that was blocked away. I can't believe Randall Leao is still with this Nashville team. I mean, he hasn't been playing a lot. He's been dealing with a lot of injury as well, but it's hard to believe that he's still with this team all this year. He must be one of the longest active Nashville SC player that's been on this team, and one of the rare players that has been on this team since day one. But in the 86th minute, like I said, this game had 0-0 written all over. I didn't think either of these teams was able to find that clinical finishing to get a massive 3 points. But in the 86th minute, Brendan Bye might have just saved the season for New England. Well, actually, I wouldn't say saved the season, but at least kind of keep the Revs at least still sort of in the playoff race. But he's score here from Langoni and Yusuf to make it 1-0 in favor of New England. Ivasic then denied Mukhtar from close as Nashville was trying to get a late equalizer. But in the end, New England, like I said, every time when I thought that maybe a team is going to be written off, it looks like they're done. They somehow pull off a win out of the thin air. And like I said, this win, we'll see whether or not if this win will mean that they are kind of back in the playoff race. I do think that they're kind of leaning toward they're done and the spot where they're kind of almost getting themselves back in the playoff race. They still need to do a lot to do so, and even in this game, they didn't play relatively well, but it doesn't matter. It's 3 points for the refs. Shots in this one: 7 shots for the 9 that Nashville has, 3 shots on goal for the 1 that New England has, 5 shots off target for the 1 that Nashville has, 4 shots that was blocked for the 1 that New England has. And possession-wise, 59% possession compared to the 41% possession that Nashville has. And this one has to hurt for Nashville. Like, this is a game against a playoff rival and the team that is not doing very well. Look like they're heading in the wrong direction, and they don't get anything out of this game. Now, luckily, again, as I mentioned, most of the team in the playoff race in the Eastern Conference, most of them didn't get a win as well. So they didn't really lose too much of points, but imagine if they would have got something out of this, or even get 3 points against a Revs team that's heading the wrong direction. Again, this game, it could come back to haunt Nashville if they don't make it, especially against a team that look like they are on their way of folding and out of the playoffs, and we'll see whether or not they can bounce back. Now, moving on in the next game. Again, I kind of went out of order, so I'm going to have to flip through the page a little bit. But the next game is the Philadelphia Union versus Atlanta United. So I would say for the Union, I think they're now up above the red line, if I'm not mistaken. Well, actually, I think last week they were above the red line, and they had a chance to get themselves in a more comfortable spot, and they don't in this one. And they'll be feeling frustrated that they didn't do so, because they were the better team in this game against Atlanta. They just didn't take their chances. In the first half, Sullivan would put it wide from close range. Well, I say they didn't take chances. They did take one of their chances, but not enough in terms of them getting all 3 points. Guzan would then deny McLean from long range. The Union was on the front foot early. They were pressing to get the opener. And then Haria Lula, he got the opener in this game, but the goal was disallowed for offside. And I mean, to be fair, the flag was already up a long time ago. It took like 2 or 3 seconds before the center ref actually blow that one dead. So it was already offside before the ball ended up in the back net. The ball probably didn't need to end up in the back net if the referee just saw it immediately with the linesman raising the flag and pretty much shut down that play. But it was all Union early in this one. But the problem is, it's still 0-0. Can they get that opening goal with the pressure they put on? Uru tried to do so, but he puts it wide from the curler in the 32nd minute, and then Rios puts it wide in the near post, and that was Atlanta's first shot in the 39th minute. Yeah, Atlanta was really struggling early in this one. Though Williams did put it wide on the header, and again, they kind of woke up late in this one. They were now the one that were looking to try to get a late opener late in the first half, but we do head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. And then in the second half, Gaslight looked like he got the opening goal of the game, but for the second time tonight, the flag did not agree with him. This time the goal was disallowed again for offside, and really, besides that, not much really kind of happened besides that chances. That all changed in the 60th minute as the Union finally got the opener that they deserve. And as the old saying go, if you don't succeed, try again, and you'll score that opener. And in this time, it's Nathan Harriel scoring from Wagner to give the Union a 1-0 lead. So Harriel doesn't get on the score sheet a lot. He gets on it this time. Rios then looked to respond, but he missed one in the 62nd minute before Gastak would hits one right to Guzan in the 67th minute. There was then a shout for a penalty for the Union that was not given. That was huge because in the 72nd minute, Atlanta ties the game up, and it's Saba time. Lobjanitze, he scored from Lennon and Rios to tie the game up at 1 apiece. Munyomba did look to try to get the lead for Atlanta, but he missed one. But you kind of sense the momentum was started to be in favor of Atlanta again. They were pressing to try to get the lead. Adeniran then hits one right to Guzan before Adeniran would also puts it wide from close range, as late in this game, Union was pressing hard to trying to get the lead back. Baribo would puts it wide from close range, and then Guzan would deny Gastak in the 5th minute stoppage time, but it actually falls right into Jacob Glesnes' hand. And Jacob Glesnes can hit one from long range, and he did not miss that one by much, but he did put it over the bar there. And yeah, in the end, it ends in a 1-1 draw in this one. Shots in this one, 22 shots compared to 9 that Atlanta has. 7 shots on goal compared to just 1 that Atlanta has. That 1 shot on goal ends up to be in the back of the net for Atlanta. 8 shots off target for the 5 that Atlanta has. 6 shots out of block for the 3 that Atlanta has. And possession-wise, actually dead even for both of these teams. But there's no doubt that Philly is going to be very frustrated that they didn't get all 3 points. I mean, they were by far the better team in this one. They had the chances, and they don't get it done. And they hope that doesn't come back to haunt them later on. I mean, I know I say that they're sitting in a good position and they've been playing relatively well, but yeah, this is a game that they should have won this one. And in a tight playoff race like this, you cannot afford to drop these kind of points, especially when you're playing at home. And for Atlanta, I mean, I think they'll be happy with the point. I mean, it doesn't really get them closer in terms of the playoff race, but considering the fact that the Union could have easily won this one by a couple of goals if they were able to show their clinical finishing, and at least Atlanta was able to take advantage of that one good chance they had on goal. They'll take it, but they definitely will have to play better if they want to keep themselves in the playoff race. And especially, again, if they don't make the playoffs this season, it's going to be an absolute failure for this team. Now, moving on into the last game on this board. And the last game on this board, and really the last game I'm going to review, because there's no way I'm doing part 2. I'm a little bit tired. It's like almost midnight right now here in Miami. But yeah, the last game of the game we're going to talk about, at least part 1 of this weekend's action, is Austin and RSL. And for RSL, they blew it. They absolutely blew it in this game. They absolutely should have won this one. And then how many times we talk about this before, where when you're the road team, you decided to absorb pressure, kind of go on a little bit of a road heave mode, and think that you can cruise your way to all 3 points, and how much that comes back to haunt you. Yeah, RSL definitely got a taste of that in this game. Now, early on, Luna had a shot that was deflected and goes wide after just a simple route 1 ball, and then Anelli would puts it wide from close range, as I thought RSL was the better team. Early on, they were on the front foot looking to try to get the opener. Gallagher then had Austin's first shot, but he hits it right to McMath. Chicho Arango then puts it wide from long range. We go for a period where not much chances was created, but in the 36th minute, Stuver, yeah, he got away with this one here. He came off his lines there, didn't get to the ball. Luna was able to go round him there, and then Cascante somehow with some brave defending to poke that one away. And he had to get that one right, because if he didn't get that one right, that is a penalty and is a red card as well for Dog Soul. But yeah, just kind of a rare mistake there from Stuver. Stuver has been very good this season for Austin. I mean, he's kind of one of the reasons why Austin still have maybe just a slim glimmer of hope in terms of making the playoffs, although this result didn't really kind of help them even with this late comeback as well. But yeah, he got away with this one big time as well. He definitely owned Cascante a lot after this game. But speaking of Cascante, he hits it wide from close in the 45th minute before McMath tip shot from close range over. Joyusi then flashed one wide from close range to the 4th-minute stoppage time. Before the 5th-minute stoppage time, Vera would flash one wide through the traffic. So there was a lot of action late in stoppage time in this one. Both teams pushing hard to get the opening goal, but we do head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. It did not take long for the opening goal to score in the second half. In fact, it only took 3 minutes as Mark Crooks would score here. I think this is his second goal for RSL. He's a guy that, again, not known for goal scoring since he's a defender, but I think he has already scored one so far this season. I don't think this is his first career MLS goal. But yeah, this was a moment where Stuver was able to deny Arango there, but it's just kind of one of those unfortunate one where it was put right into the path of Matt Crooks. I mean, give credit to Matt Crooks. He was in the right place, right time to tap that one in. And yeah, just like that, RSL took a 1-0 lead. And then they had a chance to make it 2-0 in the 62nd minute when a penalty was given to them. They go to VAR to see whether or not if Owen Wolf did handball this one in the box. He did, so they go to the spot there, and it's actually Gonzalez, the one that takes the penalty there. I think it's the first time that Diego Gonzalez took the penalty for RSL, but he buries that one to make it 2-0 in this game. And you're thinking, well, this one's done. I mean, this RSL look like they're running away with this one against an Austin team. Is just counting down the days before they get eliminated. But Dreyusi did look to respond, but he was denied by McMath. And then hindsight with hits it right to McMath as Austin started to push back to trying to get one, and RSL again they were looking to cruise to this 2-0 lead, but they were kind of being a little bit too defensive. And again, we talked about before, when you're a road team, it doesn't matter if it's a multi-goal lead. You are just being too lax. Days ago, just kind of decided to invite pressure. Yeah, as soon as the opposition get one goal, the alarm bells should be absolutely ringing, and it was at the 81st minute because Austin did get one back. It's Hodder O'Brien. He scored from Gallagher to get one back for Austin. Julio did look to restore the 2-goal lead, but he hits the side netting in the 85th minute. That would be costly, though, because in the 89th minute, Austin complete the comeback. It's Barrow scoring here to tie the game up at 2 apiece. Ojeda then hits one right to Stuver in the 2nd minute of stoppage time, and then Burrow, who scored the equalizer, he missed an absolute sitter from close range. Yeah, that is one that Guillermo Barrow would absolutely want to have back. I mean, he did score the equalizer, which is good, but man, that should have been in. That was very similar to the one that he scored the equalizer, and RSL is just simply rattle at the back. Like they're doing a typical row heave kind of thing where they're trying to hang on, didn't quite work down, and now they're just scrambling to try to at least get a point and make sure they don't get nothing out of this game and just completely self-destruct in this one. McMath then denied O'Brien from close range, but yeah, in the end, it ends in the 2-2 draw out of this one. Shots in this one, a lot of shots, 19 shots per the 20 that RSL has, which, when there's a lot of shots, Austin is not going to get a win. That's how it works this season. Both teams had 7 shots on goal, 4 shots off target for both of these teams, 3 shots that was blocked for the 8 that RSL had, and possession-wise, 52% possession compared to the 48% possession that Real Salt Lake has in this game. And yeah, overall, like I said, for RSL, this is why I think that heading into the playoffs, RSL right now is looking like fraudulent, and you cannot consider yourself a playoff contender when you do this. I mean, I know they're playing on the road, but this is supposed to be one of the best road team in the league, and you're facing against an Austin team that look like they're staring down the barrel, and to let them back in the game like this, yeah, I think there's got to be some discussion that has to be made, because this RSL team, they have not looked good. Even in the wins that they have this season, they have, or in the last couple of games, they have not looked convincing, and I just feel like when they do head into the playoffs, do not be surprised. It might be a first-round exit for RSL, and if that is the case, that is going to be a huge disappointment for this Real Salt Lake team. This team looked like was a world beater early in the season, and it's kind of sad to see that they have started to kind of self-destruct. It's almost like, I would say for RSL, is that, as soon as you give some expectation and some pressure, it feels like this team kind of folded. So I guess maybe RSL is hoping that maybe the media doesn't put too much attention and they don't have like some sort of pressure, because now that they do, man, they are just folding right now. And like I said, they look very fraudulent as they head into the playoffs. And for Austin, again, it's a good comeback, but they need the 3 points. Like if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive, which it doesn't seem like there's a lot anymore. They need to win this game. They don't. And as I'll also talk about tomorrow in part 2, it feels like the Western Conference playoff race is all but over right now, especially with teams that needs to get a win that's just below the red line didn't, and also teams that was above the red line did get a win. Well, at least one of them did that is just above the red line and actually now jumped into a pretty good position. But we'll talk about that tomorrow in part 2 of the review. But yeah, there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of looking at the first part of the review. As always, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of these first 8 games. Again, tomorrow I'm going to be doing part 2 of the review, and then I'm going to have to do the preview as well, because I think I'm going to be out all day on Tuesday. I don't think I'm going to have enough time to do the preview on Tuesday, so I'll just do it on Monday. And if I do have time on Tuesday, maybe I'll sneak in an emotion index in there. But like I said, that's the life of traveling as well. You know, it's kind of these makeshift kind of video, now doing it on the phone instead of doing it on my camera as I always do. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.